am Kelly with Kelly Tinnen and Associates. We work with companies across the globe by empowering your workforce with leading-edge soft skill presentations and workshops designed to foster organizational change, accelerate business growth, and strategic change. So follow us for weekly updates by clicking that subscribe button and check out our socials. We're at Kelly Tinnen. So this month we've been talking about challenges around communication in the workplace. And the last topic this month in January, to close out kind of part one of our communication topic, cultural misunderstandings. Now, ironically, I have a lot of experience with this in my personal life because my mother-in-law was born and raised in Japan, and she lived with my husband and I for a time in our home when we were first married. Now, a lot of things with that dynamic are a different discussion and a different topic and probably a different blog. But yes, the communication was difficult during that time because my mother-in-law didn't always feel comfortable speaking English in our house. And so there was a benefit there because I did learn some of the Japanese language. But aside from the language barrier, there were actually some interesting cultural barriers that came up despite the fact that my husband had grown up as an American, born and raised here. We live in New Mexico in the United States. And so I used to joke because I would tell my husband a lot, I'm not yelling, I'm just talking loudly, because oftentimes I would talk loudly from the other side of the house about something like, hey, I need this, or hey, what are you doing over there? Can you help me with this? But he wasn't raised in a culture that really used that tone within a household, not just from a household perspective, but from a cultural perspective. And so it really created some issues for us for a while. And diverse workplaces and cultural misunderstandings can lead to unintentional misunderstandings, can lead to being offensive. It was difficult in my home with my mother-in-law because oftentimes when I would communicate something very directly to her, it would come off as being offensive because that wasn't something that was really normal in the way that she grew up, in the way that she communicated, in the way that it worked in her family and in her dynamic before I came into the space. So it was definitely a learning curve, but it was interesting because I think it's really made me more mindful and appreciative of different cultures. And I think we deal with that when we're working on distributed teams, because I know that's an extreme example of my mother-in-law who was born and raised in a different country. But we even have those hyper-local nuances from family to family, region to region, East Coast versus West Coast of the US, South versus North, Midwest. So we all see challenges and solutions through our own lens based on how we live, how we were raised, our cultural differences. And while I do think people are more aware today because we are working in distributed teams and we can work and communicate in a much more of a global context, it still does create challenges. For instance, gestures mean different things in different cultures. Nonverbal cues are different. Not knowing specific nonverbal cues or gestures could leave someone out of the loop unintentionally or could unintentionally upset somebody. So the way we process information and in the context for which we view information is different based on our culture. So my mother-in-law processed information very differently. I tend to be very verbal and more vocal where she was not. And when we first started interacting and communicating on a regular basis, that was really a struggle because I had to bring it way down and she kind of had to bring it up a little bit. An interesting book around this subject, if you're interested in learning more about it, or you work in a space where you work with clients globally or distributed teams, it's called Kiss, Bow, and Shake Hands. It's a great book and reference guide to help you communicate effectively with other cultures. So as an organization, what are some solutions if you're trying to foster better communication among distributed teams across different cultures or even those hyper-local cultures? It's important to seize that opportunity to educate your teams about communicating effectively across different cultures, even if you live in the same country. Discussions that can highlight different nuances, different unconscious bias that we may have, different models and lenses that we may see things through. Fosters respect and understanding for your team. And it also just kind of builds that collective knowledge base and sensitivity towards people having different ways of doing things, and really does help promote an environment environment of psychological safety. You've heard me talk about psychological safety many times, but that really does create an environment where people feel valued in the workplace. And that helps to strengthen those team bonds. And then lastly, if you are working in a more global landscape, cultural exchange initiatives. So sharing sessions about different cultures where team members can share aspects of their cultures or experiences with others. This not only helps, again, build knowledge base, to build curiosity, but celebrates different cultural backgrounds, promotes an inclusive and global mindset, and just a learning experience that can be really beneficial for everybody. So with that, I hope you found this video this week helpful. A few little nuggets there that you can take away to your workplace. Don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. It does really help us out to do that, and subscribe if you like this video and want to see more content like this video that you just saw. Feel free to drop us any questions about the info that we covered today, any questions or comment. I do respond to those on the regular, so definitely take advantage of that. And don't forget, follow us on social media. LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram is where you can find us, and you'll get behind the scenes content, other tips, tricks, and information that can help you and your organization thrive. If you're interested in more topics about communication, check out the video notes. You'll find some other articles and blogs about communication and references for today's episode. Thanks again for spending time with me today. I look forward to seeing you soon. Keep learning, working, and growing. Take care.